Hi everyone, my name is Annie. I'm so excited that I have my first podcast called Listen Up Teaching Life. And in my first episode, I'm going to my colleague, and her name is Suzanne, and talking about that how wonderful be a teacher. So welcome here, Suzanne. Do you want to introduce yourself first?
Hi, Annie. Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is first Suzanne, and I have been a teacher for over 30 years.
Wow, that's so impressive.
Yes, thank you.
The first question that I want to ask you is why you want to become a teacher? Do you have any things that's like to share to us?
Well, Annie, that's a really great question because I kind of get asked that question a lot. I think the reason I became a teacher is at the age of 16, I started giving swimming lessons, and I realized, wow, I was pretty good at it. And there were a lot of parents who were requesting to have their students in my swimming classes. And then from there, I went on to be an assistant swim coach for the summer and realized, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, I'm actually really good at something here. And then from there, I just decided that when I went to college, I wanted to take all the credentials and lessons and so forth and so on. And here I am, 30 some years later, a teacher.
Wow. Yes, I think that it's very important that someone have unique experience that impacts their goal. And I also want to know that like can you share that what's your favorite memory of being a teacher?
Wow, favorite memory. Gosh, another great question there. I've got so many great, fond memories of teaching. I do remember that from one of my teaching experiences, it was a back to school night. It was my first year of teaching, and we were talking about spelling, and a parent asked me if the child wrote the incorrect letter, would the word be marked wrong? I was kind of a little shocked there. I was like, well, I said, you know what, Mr. So-and-so, that's a really great question. I said, I like to take every situation case by case. So I think it's going to have to be something that I'll have to take a look at it, whether it was he wrote the letter and I couldn't understand the letter, was the letter really wrong? I go, so 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be marked wrong unless there's a really good explanation as to why. Another great learning opportunity was when I was teaching children about the colors and hue was being referenced at it. And one of the kids was asking me what hue meant. And I said, well, hue meant color. And the one kid said, who knew? I have a lot of great experiences, but I think those two stand out. I think another experience that was very eye-opening for me is that I was teaching in an African-American school in a really rough part of West Philadelphia. And the children were lovely and amazing. And I kept saying to the children, like, you people have got to get it together, like you people. And I actually had a meeting with a parent and the principal because a parent told me that not only was it a derogatory statement, but it was used back in the day when the African Americans were slaves, and that's how the slave owner referred to the workers. So that was a very eye-opening cultural experience for me. So I'm very conscientious now of things I say and do regarding people of other nationalities and colors. And I think another rewarding experience was teaching English as a second language to my Asian children, my Russian children, and my Spanish children. They've never been to a farm before, so I took them on a field trip to experience farm life, and they were just totally amazed.
Wow, you know what, Suzanne, when I listen to your experience, just those memories really made me feel like keep me motivated being a teacher as well. Because those memories will keep always in my mind and then in my life too.
I think it's important because you don't always have the positive memories. You also have those, I don't want to say negative memories, but those memories that just are kind of wake-up calls in regards to just being more conscientious.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So next questions I'm going to ask you is like what some of the biggest challenge you face in the classroom so far?
You know, God, Ann, you got really great questions this evening. I mean, there's many challenges. I think as teachers, society is constantly changing. We're now in a technology-driven world here, and society's changing, expectations are changing. We as teachers need to learn how to teach the children of today as opposed to the children, 15 or 20 years ago. And I just find out, or I'm finding out, I think we're all finding out after the COVID, I mean, that's really done a number with our educational system. And it appears that children today are much more needy as opposed to children 15 or 20 years ago, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. And I think also as teachers, we're not only considered the teacher, but we're also the mom or the dad. We are the doctor, the nurse, the psychiatrist, the psychologist. We're the peacemaker. So I think as teachers, we wear many, many hats. And I think every day is a new opportunity, but we're always going to be faced with some type of challenge and trying to figure out how to deal with it best.
Yes, actually, you are not alone because I'm sure that as an educator, and then you always have been challenged this or that. And then the one thing that you can say is, how do you stay motivated and keep learning fresh yourself?
I think one of the ways I stay motivated, again, is working with my colleagues, particularly working with you and a couple
Thank
of
you.
other colleagues of that, just exchanging ideas, because I feel that as teachers, we are all learning, not only the students, but we as teachers as well. And even though I might have the experience of education, things are changing, and the younger teachers coming in have more, opportunities for new ideas and experiences. So I think one of the things I value is learning from my peers. I also try to take in some professional development classes on my own when I can. I'm currently following a broadcast or an iPod actually, of Jessica Gonzalez, who has this amazing stuff about education. And I recently just purchased a book from Angela Watson called Shake Able, about just giving fresh ideas of how to make the classroom setting more enjoyable and more authentic for the children. So yeah, I mean, there's a variety of things that whatever sparks my interest.
Yeah, that's great. That's you always have something and some techniques to help yourself like become such motivated. And so far, can you share one thing? What's the big accomplishment that you are most proud of being a teacher?
Wow. I mean, there's many accomplishments that I've had in my years, but I guess I have to say my greatest, maybe 2 or 3 accomplishments was becoming a principal or administrator of a charter school for 7 years, which was very, very rewarding. I learned that being at the top of the totem pole is actually the loneliest place to be. I would have to say a second one that's up there is getting my English as a second language certificate, because working with English language learners has been so rewarding, and having that background has been so beneficial, as well as teaching overseas in Berlin, Germany, where my mom was from, of teaching in a different culture and just being allowed to think outside of the box.
Yes, when you mentioned that teaching in different culture, because we work in the same school and then in a bilingual school, and the kids from the international background, and I want you to talk about that. How do you think of a U.S. education so far as educators?
I think, as I shared earlier, of having years of experience, as I said, society is constantly changing. And unfortunately, the United States today is in serious danger of losing its entire foundation of what education is about. I mean, they've switched from so many different things. Now we're in Common Core, and then we're told Common Core doesn't work. And again, this is just my opinion, but I feel that the schools outside of the U.S. are much better equipped educationally and allow teachers to go more outside of the box with risk taking. Whereas unfortunately in the United States, it's all about teaching to the test and teaching down the test. And unfortunately, the test is not really a true indicator of what children are all about. But I also think it comes back to the home life. I mean, the home life, children today are being raised by younger parents. They're even being raised by teens. There is no mother-father situation where you sit down and have dinner. So I mean, there's many, many reasons to that, but the education system is in danger of, I don't even have a word for it, to be quite honest. I'm very nervous about the system and the way that it's going.
So when we look at this crisis, and if some like very young educator listen to the podcast, so what advice are you going to give those young educators?
I think a couple of things for the young educators are coming out there is, asking yourself the question, what is your vision, or what do you want your vision to be for your classroom? What do you want your professional vision to be for yourself? I think it's also important for the young folks that are getting into education is to realize that it's not a 9-to-5 job or 7-to-4 job. It's a job that you take home with you every day. And as I said, you're not the teacher. You're many, many things. And you're stepping into a classroom that you're not sure what you're going to be prepared for. But I do wish you the best.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie, for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being my guest. I'm happy for that. And thank you all of you and then listen to us. Thank you. We see you next time. Bye.